Hello and welcome to this episode of the Business Success Podcast with myself, Adriana Cheshire, and
Jonathan Keeble.
Love that bit. In this episode, we're going to be talking about your online presence, which is your marketing in a nutshell. And whether you kind of know it or not, we all have an online presence with our business. The key to actually making the most of your online presence is actually managing it and taking ownership for it, which is what we're going to discuss today. So online presence then, Jonathan.
Yeah, I think it's all about, I suppose really it's all about having existence and visibility, all right?
Yeah.
Whether it's being the person, the organisation, the brand.
Yes.
Three things there. So I think online presence is really important. But the one thing with online presence is it's a management process. It's not a whim and so forth, because obviously with the online presence, you're really going to try and use what's available to you on the internet.
Yes.
And that's online and so forth. So that would be your website, your social media,
Yeah.
Your blogs,
Yeah.
the SEO,
Even
CRM,
our podcast.
yeah, directories
online.
and all that sort of stuff. Podcast is a great one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anywhere that you're present online, as you'd expect from the name online presence.
And I think you're right. And it's I think online presence there's two things. There's getting awareness, all right, and also there's getting recognition, and the two are slightly different. And when we look at like online presence, getting awareness is about getting your company or person or your brand known in the marketplace, and it's a great way to do it because obviously it's a lot cheaper than TV,
yeah,
and it's a lot cheaper than probably putting yourself in magazines.
You can reach a larger amount of people in a quicker time.
Exactly, and the thing is, and it's immediate, isn't it?
Yes,
and the information is immediate, and what's more, you can react a lot quicker to the audience and so forth. So, I think the awareness side of it is they're linked, but they are very, very different.
Yeah.
So, with online presence and so forth, having your target market aware of what you do is really important. So I suppose if you look at
well, you're missing a huge trick if you're not letting people know what you do.
No, I mean, you look at like Apple is I think it's a really great example. For instance,
Okay.
You want to know what Apple actually provide, products and services and solutions and everything that they do. But in actual fact, the recognition is slightly different, isn't it? Because recognition's actually the visual and the audio part of the brand awareness.
Yes.
I think, if I put that right. So, the awareness is we know what you do.
Yeah.
All right. And then the recognition is when we see something out there, either visual or audio, that reinforces in actual fact that company and so forth. For example, like Apple. And I mean, I always like I always used to laugh at the supermarket, the Asda supermarket.
Yes.
Where they used to do the Asda price.
Yes.
And they back that up visually by patting your pocket.
Yes.
So, people felt like they go into Asda and they'd pat their pocket because they're saving money.
Yeah.
And that was really clever because people knew what Asda did and the range of products and so forth and their location.
Yeah, it's your supermarket.
Exactly. And
quite clear.
But in actual fact, what they were able to do is create a sort of a visual.
Yes.
And an audio and that's the word, tagline, to in actual fact their online presence, I suppose.
Yeah. And with online presence, like I mentioned in the beginning, it's important that you take ownership of it as a business. Whether you're just on Companies House, which is your online presence, that's one tiny bit of your online presence, or whether you have got the full website, social media, that kind of thing. There's two aspects to your online presence. So we've got the owned online presence, which is everything that you as a business have control of, which is the important stuff. So that is your website, your SEO, your blog posts, your social media, the content you're putting out. But then you've also got the earned online presence, which is the stuff that you, as the name suggests, you earn from the people, the customers, the world around you. So it can be your Google reviews, which you can't control, which you gain from customers. And on that note, we've just hit our 70th 5-star Google review as a company, haven't we?
Well done,
Which
Adriana.
really proud of. It's really difficult sometimes to get you Google reviews and reviews in general because people are busy. But actually to have 75-star Google reviews for what we do, I'm immensely proud of us for that in the 5 years that we've been doing it. So yes, you've got your earned media, which is your Google reviews. It's people mentioning you on social media. It's people kind of commenting and things like that. So it's important to know the difference between the two. And actually both are equally as important, but what you can control, you should be controlling. So it's about reviewing your online presence on a really regular basis. Is it still working? Are we getting the results we want from it? If not, what can we do differently?
Well, we got one of our team who's not with us today.
Because she is doing an online presence with
She's
someone.
doing an online presence with a client and so forth.
Yes.
And
well done, Alexandra.
Yeah. And I didn't realise when she did the online presence how much work is involved to actually do it before she actually speaks to the client.
Yeah.
Because she took about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
To do a real to research it, to actually understand the brand, decide understand what products and services that the client was offering, the features and benefits, what their goals were, the values, the culture, all this stuff that she got involved with. And then I sat in on the online presence review, and she did it in front of 2 clients, to be honest, and I thought they're never going to last this.
But so in depth.
It was so in depth, and literally, her presentation took 3 hours.
Yeah, we take it seriously.
I know, but the thing was, it was so good that she's can't be with us today because they've called her back in.
Yeah.
And they want to go through with that in more detail because they want to completely change their online presence.
Yes.
And starting with the website.
Because it's all about that impression you make to your customer.
Yeah.
And I like the way Alexandra puts it actually when she's explaining online presence. She says, imagine the different kind of platforms and your website as kind of parties. And you approach each party differently depending on the people there and the kind of conversations you want to have in that particular party. So I really like the way she explains that. But yeah, she's actually working through the suggestions that were made from that online presence report today, isn't she? So that's a really good thing about the online presence report. It not only looks at kind of what you're doing now, but actually what are the suggestions and the best next steps to improve your online presence and keep your brand growing, essentially.
And she did such a great job.
Yeah.
I said, could I have one too?
Yes, I know. And she went, oh no.
No, she was quite happy, she's happy. But I mean, the thing was, and she's doing ours as well, which is really cool.
Definitely.
Because certainly what we've done is we've added more services, to what we offer and so forth. And we were just looking to actually decide in actual fact how we were going to get it out there.
Brands evolve, businesses evolve, and it's important that everything online that you do evolves too, because 97% of us, 97% of customers, which is a lot of people, actually start their research for a local company or a service to buy or a restaurant to go to online. So you need to be making the most of your online presence and take advantage of that. Otherwise, you're missing a huge opportunity and you're just not standing out from your competitors who are doing that.
Yeah, and I think, and when you get onto the sort of, that's all about awareness, isn't it? Online awareness. But when you get to the recognition, it's an actual... I mean, let's have a few examples really of recognition because I suppose Cadbury's is a great one.
Oh, chocolate.
Yeah, number one sort of brand,
Yeah.
And literally all the chocolates got the same sort of colour.
Purple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bluey purple, isn't it?
It's a nice purple.
It is purple.
Yeah, it is. It's not like the NatWest purple, is it? It's a rich purple.
Yeah, it is a very rich purple, but it's Cadbury's and so forth.
And even the font that they use.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And so forth. But they've had some amazing sort of adverts over the years and so forth. But for me, the recognition is the colour. Mm-hmm. And the word Cadbury's and the colour. And for me, that's so powerful because I know I'm going to get quality.
Yes. So it's kind of the words that you associate with a company that makes up your brand as well.
It's a bit like when you said with NatWest, for instance, they don't have to show their logo.
No.
They could just show their colour.
Yes.
And it's NatWest.
Yeah.
And it's the same with...
it's pretty cool.
Have you seen more Tesla cars being driven around.
Yeah,
there.
definitely.
Yeah, and you'd think that I always look at it and say that's a wacky car, and it's a Tesla.
It's a wacky
You know,
car.
yeah. And the recognition is on the brand.
Yeah.
I don't know what car it is.
No.
You know, it comes out and say, that's a pretty wacky big car. And I said, look at the front. Oh, it's a Tesla.
Yeah. Well, it's
You
all
know?
well and good having a great logo and a brand, like you say, and that's great for the recognition piece, especially in the real world. But you need to translate that online, which is where we really place importance of working with owners on figuring out their culture, their values, their mission, so that we can say all of that good stuff in various ways on various platforms online, so that we're actually telling the world what you're about and encouraging them essentially to buy from you. Branding plays a huge part in your online presence, but it's a lot more than that, isn't it, to actually get the name out there then. And it's not a one size fits all either. It's very bespoke with your online presence. So yes, while every business should have a great website, definitely, that's a no-brainer. Every website's going to look different and have a different end goal. And social media platforms, whilst one business may do really well on one platform, doesn't necessarily mean that your business, that may be in a completely different industry, selling completely different products, is going to do well on that platform. So it's about picking and choosing the platforms that are actually going to work for you and bring you results. And that's, again, where we come in. But I really like the fact that we're practicing what we preach and are looking at our own online presence as well, and doing the whole process with ourselves. Because I think that's really important as a marketing agency.
We
and
love
HR
being critiqued.
agency. We do, yeah.
I love new ideas. I like being critiqued.
I wonder how many people would say that, like being critiqued.
Well, I do, actually. I think my wife does a pretty good job of it.
But it makes you a better person, doesn't it? You know,
Hopefully.
when someone's honest with you.
Yeah, hopefully.
And you can take that back on board as just...
Yeah, but the thing is, it's so easy to fall into the trap of doing the same thing you did yesterday and expect a different result tomorrow. You sometimes need to just see where you are. What is it you want to gain? Have you changed your goals? Have you changed your culture? Have you changed your vision? Is your mission changed? Has anything changed? Your services, your products, or whatever. If there's anything changed, and if it's so, what are you doing to say about it?
Yes,
Okay.
That's a really good point. We had a source strategy 4-hour session with a client last week.
Oh, that was a good one.
Gosh, it is last week now.
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, and everything you're saying is spot on, because they have a website, which is great. But since they've built it, it's not been touched, a year or so ago. And in that time, they've
Google don't like that, do they?
Well, Google doesn't like that, definitely. And we want Google to love our website so that we get pushed up the ranking in the search engines. But they've added services since then. They've evolved in numerous ways within the business in the last 12 to 18 months. And their website's still stuck in that time frame and just doesn't reflect all the amazing stuff that we talked about in that 4-hour session. So it's, like I said, it's about reviewing your online presence, and does it say what we need it to say? And to be honest, I would be looking at that monthly, really, because things change so quickly.
So let's just sort of like talk about why we think online presence is so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, it gives you more of a global reach, doesn't it?
Yes, you can reach many more people.
Instantly.
Yeah. And it can be a very general approach, or you can be more targeted in your approach depending on your end goal. You can reach business owners, or you can reach people who want to buy T-shirts. It completely depends what you offer. But yeah, global, worldwide, for a really cost-effective way of doing it.
It is. And if you can reach that, if you can deliver to that global market, why would you not use it?
And social media is free, unless you're doing paid advertising. It's free. Make the most of it. Get good content out there. Get engaging stuff out there. Work with a company who knows what they're doing and can help you to excel in that field.
Exactly.
Definitely.
And get the SEO working.
Yeah. So if you're reaching people globally, that means you're building your brand awareness and your visibility.
And hopefully, if you've got the right tagline, the right logo, the right packaging, the right colour, guess what you're doing? You're getting brand recognition.
Yes.
Which is so important.
We say it all the time, and this is going off piece slightly, but we also need to be delivering that in the real world. So if you're saying one thing on social media, we talked about it numerous times, you need to be delivering it in the real world, deliver on your promises, and that's where your team come in.
So the other benefit would be it's really cost effective, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's cheaper than TV, magazines, papers, leaflets.
Yeah, and the good thing is you can really use the data. So what I love about digital marketing and online presence is that you can really track to really minute degrees sometimes where your people are coming from, the genders, the size of the audience, where they are in the world. There's so much data available to us online now that we can use as marketers to really help us to keep doing what's working and stop doing what's not working. I love the data aspect to it. And it's really important that you are, at least on a monthly basis, looking at your insights and analytics.
And thirdly, I'd sort of say is why it's so powerful. Okay, it's instant communication.
Yes, instant. We all like instant gratification these days, don't we?
Yeah,
We're
but
so
I mean,
used to it.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, if I've got a question, I need an answer.
Yeah, very fast paced. You have to send a little letter.
Oh, I
with a
do
postage
remember
stamp.
the good old days when I first became a sales rep.
Yeah, go
And
on.
and literally you went and see the customer, you
Yeah.
took the order, and then
You'd write it down, probably
we
physically.
did. We had no computers
Yeah.
then, and we write it down, and then we'd find a telephone box to ring the order in for someone else to write it down,
Yeah.
for the order to be picked and shipped out. Now the customer's expectation of that is he probably wouldn't expect it to be delivered for about 3 days,
Right.
and which has took a lot of pressure off people, to be honest, you know. But these days, you click the button, ding, you expect to get it next day, especially with
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yeah, you're right. Our expectations of speed are definitely different these days, aren't they?
And the other powerful thing about having a good online presence is it's really good for data collection about the client. So you think about when you go into the supermarket and they ask you whether you've got a Morrison's card or a Waitrose card or
Like a loyalty
a
card.
Sainsbury's
kind of
card
thing.
or
Yeah.
a Nectar or whatever. Why do you think they do that?
Loyalty, retention.
Yeah. And also for them?
Not for the customer.
No, for the company.
Well, their data.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so
Their
funny.
buying habits.
Yeah, because it's so funny because my wife's got an M&S card, and last Christmas she was the #1 shopper for M&S coleslaw.
Was she? That's so specific.
In Plymouth. And I thought, crying out loud, you know, is that all you're buying? And
Did she get a year's worth of coleslaw?
They do make really nice
They
coleslaw,
do.
you know.
They do.
But I mean, it's so funny that,
Love
and then
that,
they were
Ali.
giving her they were sort of saying, they weren't giving her anything actually. What were they doing? Saying they were sort of saying to she had to be #1. She had to continue buying more coleslaw.
What an achievement.
I've got to say we have dropped down the league
Oh.
table. But it was so funny.
It's
But it sort of created a bit of momentum. Oh, we're #1 in Plymouth buying
Yes,
coleslaw for
yeah.
M&S. When we go in, get another tub of coleslaw. Do we
Yeah.
want to stay #1?
That is a real achievement, though.
Well, there's only 2 of us. So God knows where she's putting it.
I love it, but you're right. The buying habits are incredibly valuable to a company.
Yeah.
What people are buying, when they're buying it, then you can really
Yeah.
target your ads to them and,
I mean, how many
and make
times?
it relevant.
Because you like fish, don't you?
What, eating it?
No?
No.
Oh, I do. Okay.
Yeah, I know you
But-
like fish.
Yeah,
Much to especially
I
the
like swimming with the
kippers.
fish as well. And the thing is that, but if you're buying fish and in the supermarket, then the next time they'll give you a promotion slip, probably asking you to have white wine with it
Yeah.
or a sauce with it.
Yes.
Or
And
certain
really
vegetables
target,
to go
tailor
with
the
it.
message.
So if you're buying something specific, you know, they're going to sort of say there's an offer on wine,
Yeah.
white wine, that would be go quite nicely with your fish
Yeah.
and stuff like that, which I think is amazingly clever.
Yeah, it is clever.
All right, but
yeah.
they're analysing our buying habits and our buying
Yes.
decisions
Yeah.
to try and encourage us to widen our buying opportunities.
Yeah.
So in actual fact, they're increasing their average spend per customer, and hopefully they're believing that the transactions will increase because you'll tie into more loyalty with that supermarket rather than shop around 3 or 4 supermarkets.
Yeah. And the good thing is, the longer you do your marketing and your social media and things like that, the more data you build up and the more insights you build up. So you have a much clearer picture of your customer and a much clearer picture of what's doing well and what you might need to improve online.
And probably the last thing I'd probably sort of say about the benefits of online, why online presence is so powerful, it builds your brand.
Yes, which builds the value of the business.
Yeah, and you're able to sort of like hopefully, include your sort of the goals of the company, the culture of the company, the mission of the company. Can I think of anything else?
Well, the consistency.
Nice, yeah.
So if you're
Consistent
saying one-
service.
Yeah,
We never mentioned that actually. Consistency of service and delivery. That's a
yeah.
really good one.
Well, if you're saying one thing on, this is what Alexandra's really good at in the report.
Yeah.
If you're saying one thing on your website, or your brand looks one way on your website, but then it's not consistent with what you're showing on social media or your Facebook page or your Instagram, then there's that disconnect there, and you're losing people along the customer journey, which is ultimately going to lose you sales, which is not great.
No.
So yeah, that consistency and delivery of service is mega important.
So I see online presence in two ways. It's like it's having awareness of that person, that product, or that brand. And then linked to that is being, recognizing it, whether it's a logo, audio, it could be packaging, could be color, and so forth, that actually reinforces my awareness of that brand and all the products and services that's delivered within it.
It's all very clever, isn't it, actually?
It is. It's so fascinating.
It is fascinating.
Yeah, and we got Alexandra to thank for that, haven't we?
Yes, the online presence report.
We've done her podcast. We've done a podcast for her.
Yes, you're welcome. Well, like you said, she's busy doing the online presence report with a client.
Yeah.
So brilliant. And then just a last note from me is mobile is really important. So yes,
Nice.
you're viewing your website on your desktop and your social media on your website, but just make sure to keep in mind how it all looks on your mobile as well.
Good.
So even simple things like your LinkedIn banners
Yeah, I like
can
that.
look great on your desktop, and then you're missing half of it when you're looking on your mobile. So make sure it kind of works on both devices, because actually the majority of people
Great
use their
advice.
mobiles these days.
That's so important.
But yeah, regularly review your online presence. It's made up of a lot of different things. Every business has an online presence. It's up to you to make the most of it, manage it, control it as much as you can. But yeah, if you need help or are interested in an online presence report with us, we'd be more than happy to do that with you.
And we'll introduce you to Alexandra.
Yes, definitely.
Who's a real
She's
genius
a star.
on it.
Yeah,
She's a genius on it.
absolutely, definitely. Well, thank you very much for listening and perhaps watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you.